Hello and welcome to Dyson Gameplay. My name is Robert and I will be the man that is taking you through this Pokemon playthrough. It's rather than a playthrough, it's more of a replay as I have of course played these games before. And this particular one is Pokemon Black, and I've chosen to do a replay of Pokemon Black because I feel like it's not really given any love. It's an older game and a lot of people feel that the region had some terrible Pokemon, and don't get me wrong, you are right. There are some terrible Pokemon throughout this game, and some of where this becomes obvious is at the very beginning. The starters are just terrible. I mean, you start out with cute Pokemon like Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur in Gen 1, and then you get things like Mudkip and Trico, and just some really adorable pieces, Pokemon, whatever you would like to call them, and then you end up with some terrible choices. For example, you have to pick between these three: Tepig, Snivy, and Oshawott. And the fact is that I consider all of these Pokemon to be completely useless. They may have some uses as far as actual gameplay, however, I consider them to be ugly. I do not like them one bit, and I am somebody who picks based somewhat off of looks, also off of versatility. And the fact is, I can't get behind any of these Pokemon. So it doesn't really matter who I pick to begin with, as I actually will not be keeping a starter with me throughout this playthrough. Instead, I will be going for some very specific Pokemon. In this playthrough, the Pokemon that I will be collecting to use as my primary team are Excadrill, Siglet, Galvantula, Chandelure, Caracosta, and Scrafty. Now, these Pokemon are selected based somewhat off of their looks and also off of their versatility and usefulness in this game. I feel like this is the perfect team to get through this region without causing any problems. And so, these Pokemon that I use at first, the starters and those that I get in the meantime while I go to find my Pokemon themselves, are just throwaway characters. And that's just the way it is, because there are so many useless Pokemon that I feel are ugly and just not worth having around. However, that being said, there are also some of the best Pokemon in this region. An example of this is Galvantula. He's an adorable Pokemon, one of my favorites as far as appearance goes and as far as usefulness. I don't think they could have made a better electric type ever. I think he's much better than Pikachu. I think he's much better than Electros from this region. I really can get behind the Galvantula. And I can't remember the name of its pre-evolution. Joltik. Joltik and Galvantula, they are adorable. And so they are great examples of some Pokemon that work really well. Also Chandelure, which is another one that I picked. Also Reuniclus. I didn't pick that Pokemon because it is a monotype, and I don't generally use monotypes. However, I do really like that its design. Had it been a Psychic Fighting or a Psychic Normal, really Psychic anything, I would have definitely included that in my team and found something to get rid of. Probably Scrafty, as I don't care for his looks that much. He is instead on this team for his usefulness against the Elite Four. But I'm sure that's enough of me talking about which Pokemon are good and which ones are bad and why I would choose to pick this region over some other ones for the playthrough. Let's just go ahead and enjoy this game. As you can see, I am using an emulator to play this. This is the Drastic emulator that I am using. I did have to buy it. It was a one-time fee. I believe I paid $3.99 or $4.99. However, it was definitely worth it. I've used some other emulators, and they were just not worth using at all. They provided me with absolutely nothing that was worthwhile. And so I decided to pay, and it truly worked out for the benefit. There is a difference between those apps that you pay for and those that you don't. And if you're like me and you have a really hard time providing money for an app, I can understand that, but trust me, this is one that is well worth your money. Just do what I did. Add your card long enough to make one purchase, then remove it from the list so that it can't be charged anymore, and you're good to go. Anyways, I do hope that you enjoy this playthrough. I will be going through this game as fast as I can and showing you how useful it can be to go through this game without limiting yourself with one of the starters, which, let's face it, are just terrible. There are so many starters that are good, but they seem to be getting worse and worse with every generation. It started with Torchic and the ugly creature that it turned into. cannot stand Blaziken. It is one of the ugliest, worst Pokemon that was ever created. There's some bias there because I can't stand that Blaziken defeated Charizard in the anime. However, that does not change the fact that Blaziken is an ugly beast. And there are other Pokemon, like every single starter here, that are just god-awful, that I cannot get behind. But even with that being the case, and even with this region having some of the ugliest, worst Pokemon, it also has some of the best Pokemon, and I really enjoy the gameplay here. You have two different rivals that you get to play with. Neither one's very good. To be honest, I miss when, back in the older versions, you got to name your rival and you had one main rival. However, I definitely can see why they changed it. I preferred it the old way, but I understand what they are doing. Now, I was talking about the drastic emulator, and I think that this is really great because you have things like it's actually running at full speed. You can speed it up. If I click on the middle button, the up arrow, you can see it brings up a menu, and I can click on menu, and I can do cheat codes, and there's actually quite a few pre-built cheats in here. I will not be using these, however they are very useful. One major limitation with using this is that I don't have the ability to trade as I do when I use my DSs, as I actually have a 3DS and a 3DS XL. When I have games, I can actually trade between them and end up with whatever evolved Pokemon I want, but when I'm using an emulator for these older games that I don't own a physical copy of, I'm not able to trade, and so that means I can't get certain Pokemon, like, for example, Gigalith or Gengar. So what I do instead is I just suffer without them. However, if you wanted to have one of those Pokemon, but you could use the cheat code to find that Pokemon in the wild. Now, you could do that immediately, or if you wanted a more realistic feel, you could wait until you would naturally find that Pokemon's pre-evolutions, level it up to the point that you reach its secondary evolution, and then use the cheat code to create an encounter with, say, a Gengar that's the same level as the Haunter that you have. That way it's as if you traded even though you didn't actually trade, and you're not really cheating. It's not exactly being honest, but it's also not cheating either. And so that's something that's nice about this setup. But besides that, it works very well. You can see the screen's kind of small when it's turned sideways. I will show you temporarily. I can turn it up to make it bigger and more useful. However, that does not benefit making videos, so we will be playing with it sideways here and watching as it goes through these various clips, and then we will soon be playing our way through the game, looking for the Pokemon that we are looking for and succeeding in our playthrough. And we'll go ahead and we'll go through this long enough to get to the first gym, and I'll even go through the first gym as it is a very easy go, and then we'll move on to a second video for the remaining gyms, as there's no point in going through this all in one go. There's be way too long of a video, and there'd be no way that you'd be interested in watching it that much. Now you can see I'm just quickly going through the script. I'm not bothering reading what they're saying, as I've already played through this, and it's really not important. If you really want to know what it's saying, you can look that up yourself. I am sorry for that slight interruption. But as I was saying, there's really no point in reading through the script that's there, and there's really no point in worrying about any of what's here. I mean, you can see if I want, I can go ahead and go to the bag, and I can go to the Pokeballs, and I've got 5 of them, and I can indeed capture some of these Pokemon, and in fact, I will, just because that is worthwhile to do. However, these Pokemon are not really worthwhile to have. These are not the Pokemon that are my end goal. And now, there is the concept of gotta catch them all. And indeed, that is a good concept. However, that is not the point of this playthrough. If we wanted to catch them all, that would be another playthrough where we're actually going through how to find each and every Pokemon, and seeing as I am unable to do trades in an emulator, I would have to use cheats to find those that I cannot actually find in this version of the game. So instead of doing that, I will instead just simply get through the game itself. The storyline, which is actually rather nice. The Pokemon universe does very well about making storylines that are interesting to follow, especially considering that its fan base consists both of young children and of adults who started out loving this game from Generation 1. I am not quite a Gen 1er. I am a Gen 1er where the anime is concerned. However, where games are concerned, I didn't come in until the 3rd generation. I played Fire Red and Leaf Green, and let me tell you, I found those to be fantastic games, and I in fact am going to be doing some playthroughs on those using another emulator, the John GBA emulator, which is what I found to be the very best one, and that is a free emulator, in fact. And so that's going to be very interesting, but that's another video for another time. For now, let's go ahead and do what we have to get through this. And you can see I've only got 2 Pokemon so far, and the reason for this is that I really don't need to have that many Pokemon. We'll go through our quick intro telling us how to do all the things that we most likely already know how to do, unless you're just a brand new player to the game, which does of course happen. Everybody has to get started at some point. As I said, I started in Generation 3. There are Gen 1ers, there are people that started in this generation, there are people that started in the newest generation. I played those games as well, and I have to tell you, I'm not a big fan of the loss of the Pokemon gyms in exchange for battling the big kahunas, but what can I say? Every Pokemon system has to have its own ideas, and every region has its own system, and whatever works for you. Personally, I find that the older versions worked best, but I do like some of what these newer versions have to offer. They do offer some interesting Pokemon and concepts. I'm not a big fan of the nerfing of different types, but that's really irrelevant for these playthroughs. Instead, we'll be focusing on what's going on here, like we're talking with In and seeing what's going on, learning about his philosophies. And really, I don't care for In's character. I don't like him very much, but I do have to give him credit. He is well thought out. He actually has personality and interests and beliefs, and that makes him a really, really good Pokemon villain. As opposed to, say, Giovanni, whose sole goal is to rule over the Pokemon world, and who has just a sudden change of heart that's unexplainable. Within, I can understand everything about him, even if I do not agree with him, and even if I find him to be obnoxious and stupid. As for the Sages, I do think they are a missed opportunity. I do think it would have been great if we could have fought with every Sage, but you'll see what's going on with that as we go through this. For now, let's go through our playthrough. We need to find the gym leaders. I've just gotten myself damaged in that battle. Leveled up to level 8 though, which is nice, so we'll heal ourselves at the trusty Pokemon Center. It's our handy dandy Pokemon Center. Almost like a notebook. And now, we're going to go. We need to hurry. See, a lot of this just doesn't have any actual interest for us. Here we are, we're getting our running shoes. And watch how fast we can go with these running shoes. You just hold B to be able to use them and go, just like in any other game. And we're already going fast thanks to my double speed on the app itself. However, now, being able to run, we can go phenomenally fast. And that is very useful. However, running does also increase the amount of encounters that you have, which isn't necessarily bad if you're trying to catch a bunch of Pokemon, or if you're trying to build up experience. It's actually very useful. And so we'll go ahead and catch this little guy here. And actually, we failed. I'm surprised with as low as I've gotten her health. I would have expected to have caught this little Patrat. But that's okay, we'll get it the second time. It happens from every now and then where it's all based off of percentages, so even if you're most likely going to catch it, there's never a guarantee. However, what is guaranteed is my defeat of this one, as I've just caught a Patrat and I have no need for it. And now we have to go through some battles. And you'll see it's basically just the same as fighting wild Pokemon, except for the fact that these Pokemon are going to be just slightly stronger. And this actually does add to some of the value of the gameplay here. as you actually get somewhat of a challenge. However, in these early stages, that challenge is very minimal. The truth is, if you go through like I do, and you end up catching a lot of Pokemon, and you're leveling your Pokemon all throughout your journeys, the fact is that you will actually end up with very few challenges throughout the game, with the exception perhaps of gym leaders and the Elite Four. The reason that these exceptions exist are that they are designed to be particularly challenging, whereas the rest of these NPCs that you encounter are just designed to provide you with some information and some additional gameplay besides running around, as otherwise these would be quite boring games. In fact, there's really not a lot going on here. As you can see, let's walk around, fight a little, catch. Walk around, fight a little, catch. And so having these battles thrown in is quite useful. And there are battles when you're walking around and catching, of course, that's how you catch the Pokemon. However, then they can be annoying at times. Look up any sort of meme about Zubats, and you'll know what I'm talking about. People don't like having to go through the same battle over and over, and so the variation that is provided with these trainers is quite useful. And we can see we're just breezing right through this. Well, you can see what I mean about doing the same battles over and over again. Lillipups and Patrats are all that we're gonna hit. Once again, I apologize for that interruption. But now, we're getting near the point where we can go to the gym. This video is taking longer than I expected it to be honest. So I don't think I will be doing the gym battle in this playthrough. Instead, I think it would make more sense for me to go through to the point where I'm ready for a gym battle, and then stop it there. So we're going to fight Bianca, who is the weaker of our two adversaries. Don't get me wrong, she provides some interesting aspects to the game. However, she never really stands a chance against us, whereas Sharon actually provides somewhat of a challenge. We're going to keep battling, and I think the main reason for this is that the starters, we have the immediate advantage, whereas we have a disadvantage against Sharon. And so Sharon's more like the traditional adversary. So let's go here to the gym, heal up, because as I'm sure you saw, my poor little Pokemon is definitely weakened. It's the only one that I'm using, so it's to be expected. Talk to this guy here, looking for the gym leader. He's not here, he's at the trainer school, yada yada. So we go over to the trainer school. Talk to Sharon. And we need to battle him. And you'll see what I mean when I say he's more challenging. However, as I said, the gym leaders and the Elite Four are really where you find any kind of challenge, if you're going to find it. Not very effective because it's a grass-type move, no surprise. Even though it's effective for us to use it, it's ineffective against our opponents. So instead, we will focus on other moves that are more worthwhile. And you see the effect of those damn fairies. They're quite dangerous. When you're first learning how to play, they can throw quite a wrench into your plan. But as you can see, it's not really a problem when you're over-leveled. And now we're no longer fighting a fire type, so Vine Whip is going to be our best move. And actually, we may lose our Snivy here thanks to the burn. So, we'll go ahead and go with, say, Patra. At this point, it doesn't really matter who we're using. We may actually lose the fight because we have such a severe level disadvantage against our opponent. But it's hard to say. Honorable Petra leveled up a couple of times because it just defeated such a strong opponent. Not that it really matters. So we'll go. We need to wake up our poor little Snivy. I'll talk to this idiot. And he is the gym leader. I call him an idiot because I find him rather irritating, him and his brothers. So we'll go. We have a couple of battles to do. And we're nearing the end of this video. We'll do these couple of battles, and we're going to get one of the elemental monkeys. Once we've gotten the elemental monkey, in this case it's going to be the elemental monkey of water, we will go ahead and end this playthrough, or at least this episode of the playthrough, as we'll be ready for the first gym. And the next one, I believe we'll go ahead and do the first gym, and perhaps go to the second. I'm not sure yet. We'll go through these, get ourselves a monkey, and prepare for the first gym. Next video, we'll go ahead and we'll do the first gym. And we'll just go from there, play it by ear. And if you're looking to getting into these games, I do highly suggest them, and I highly suggest this particular reason. Now, I really enjoy this region because of the fact that it's loaded solely with region-specific Pokemon. This region, the Kalos region and the Kanto region, in my opinion, are the two best regions because they are loaded with Pokemon specific to their region. You don't have to worry about generational layover. And now, once you get to later games, there are of course Pokemon from this region in those areas. Same with the Kanto region. However, you never have to worry about is this Pokemon from this generation or from another generation in these two specific regions, because of the fact that they are loaded specifically with their own Pokemon and their own Pokemon only. And I really value that. I know it's not a requirement. Some people don't mind using Pokemon from other generations and other regions. However, when I play through these games, I find that I really enjoy using Pokemon specific to that region as I get a new experience and I get to try new Pokemon out. And to me, I value that in these games, otherwise it can be boring if I use a Zubat in every single region so that I can always get a Crobat. I'm going to find it boring. I really enjoy using Crobat. However, I do not want to use a Crobat in every single version of the game. I want to have different flyers, I want to have different poison types. I want to have access to different moves and see different creatures as I'm going through the game. And that is a personal preference. As I said, there's definitely some people that don't mind. But it's just, I do. I want to have variety. Variety is the spice of life. Okay, we now have our Panpour. So we're going to heal. And we're going to go ahead and end the video on that note. We're now completely ready to go. I'd like to thank you for tuning into this. I know that I talked a lot. I promise in the future videos it will be less talking and more gameplay, or at least more relevant to what's going on the screen. But for now, I'd like to once again thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time on our replay of this video.